Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock and this is City of Heroes. We are with our Dominator, Mister Eclipse, who's level 10, has 2800 XP to get to level 11, and we're finishing up the story arc of Hide and Seek, where we need to deactivate the limbo device so the Seers will be able to find Cutter Kane and we can take him out. So we have to search 10 dumpsters to find the limbo device. I have refreshed our inspirations here. This is the trait we're going to go with for now, and we'll see how it works. Haven't played a Dominator in a long time, so you got to be careful here. We don't want to aggro people. And did I? Oh, yep, I did. Yeah, that's not good. And I'm... What is going on with the... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. Stupid. Is that a lieutenant or a boss? Try our new power. Did it immobilize him? Like, he's totally immune to everything? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't know if that guy is just... Why can I not target her now? What's going on with this? It's glitchy. She's here, she's held, but I cannot target her. What's going on? I guess she's going back to her spawn point. And yet he's coming to me anyway? No, let's just go away. Wow, that was stupid. Okay. Let's go up here. And let me actually find the spot I'm trying to find here. Okay, it's over there. That's gonna hurt. Okay, so we're in the vicinity. And we just got attacked again. Okay. Not used to fighting on the street with this guy, because we've mostly been in relatively safe areas. And, inside missions. Why are you not attacking your buddy? That's weird. This seems buggy. And I don't know why the PPD is attacking me. That's also weird. Okay, so we have a glowy down here, I think. There's a dumpster. One. 10 dumpsters to search. So let's not teleport like crazy, because that's part of the problem. Right, you teleport right into a bunch of bad guys. Super jump can get you that way too sometimes. Can we select the task here? There we go. Alright, now I'm going to teleport and try to avoid the potential aggro over there. So yeah, this is an example of a mission. 3 or 4 dumpsters would probably have made the point. I don't know that we needed to do 10 of these. So the reason those other, those 2 guys we were fighting, like, became unhittable and ran away and that sort of thing is that the City of Heroes and Villains and Going Rogue, the NPCs, have a particular spawn point, and they're what is called leashed to the spawn point. And the spawn point serves as like a radius of a like, and if they go past that radius, they will turn around and try to go back to it. And the idea is so that you can't like run them all over the map, and they won't chase you all over the map. They'll chase you a certain distance, and then they will stop. And so I guess I went out of the leash radius, and so that's why they stopped. And I guess that's why she turned like unclickable. But that's sort of weird behavior. I didn't realize they did that. I thought once, like if you're in combat with them, I didn't think they would become unclickable, especially once you've actually attacked them and held them. But if I could hold her in a position here, she was attackable when I held her. Why wouldn't she be attackable while she's being held? That's sort of weird. But maybe I triggered the attack and then she stepped like 1 pixel over the limit, right? And then got held, and because she was a pixel over the limit, it just wouldn't recognize her as an attackable target. I don't know. Very strange. Kind of glad I recorded that, because otherwise it'd be like, did I see what I saw? Okay. So we have figured out where we're going, and now we're going to go arrest Andrew, or arrest Cutter Kane. I don't know why I said Andrew. Excuse me. And off we go. So we're back into the sewers. As I said, at least it's not as filthy as Paragon City sewers are. There's nothing there. So as we go, Luke Hart has an episode where he was doing some, excuse me, role-playing game horror stories, and it was sort of interesting. He started off reading one that was quite long, and it was about so the story was, I didn't listen to him read it out loud. I actually just paused the video and read it myself because I could read a lot more quickly since he was making commentary about it and stuff. But as I was like reading this thing, it was a long story. Again, I didn't go through the whole entire thing. I read parts of it and I kind of got the gist. But if you want to, he released it like today or yesterday, so it's July 4th. So somewhere in the beginning of July, you can watch the whole thing. But the story was written by a player about his group, and in the group, it's him and his wife. He and his wife are players, and then his sister is a player, and his brother-in-law, the sister's husband, is the game master. And it sounds like, let's try our cone here. It sounds like the got them all? Awesome. That's pretty cool. It sounds like this is your typical watch out when you have, family members who are in a group together, even when they're your family, right? Because it sounded like the GM was playing favorites, and with his wife, and it sounds like the GM had to play favorites with his wife because if he didn't, she would like make his life hell in between game sessions and stuff. And so in order to keep the peace with his wife, he just said, he let her have all the kill shots on monsters and stuff like that. And it seemed like he wasn't, a very good GM, a very fair GM. And it's like, this is one of the things that often makes it very difficult when you have a group where there's a closer relationship between some of the people or among some of the people than other people. It can be very difficult. I was very concerned in my D&D group when the new girl got her like best college friend to join us, because again, now you have two people who have a closer relationship than either of them has with anyone else in the group. Now it turned out she's great and it worked out really well, and she's a very cooperative person and she really knows how to do D&D properly, which I really like. And so, She did a great job, and she's a great player. We're playing on Saturday. The new girl's actually not able to do it because she's traveling, but the actually newer girl, the friend of the new girl, is going to be there, and I'm happy to have her because she's a really good player. But it could have gotten really ugly, right? It could have been very dangerous if the two of them were closer friends with each other than they are with us, and something happens to one of their characters that they don't like, and then the other one is kind of on her side, and now you have like politics in the group. It can happen, and it's pretty ugly when it does. And so, yeah, you just never know how this kind of stuff is going to shake out, and you really have to be vigilant if you're the game master and you have that special relationship with one of the players. And I tried very hard not to give my best friend special treatment, and he made it a difficult job for me because he was the one who wanted his own special custom character, right? So now it's like, is it unfair if he gets to have his own custom, not custom character, I keep saying this, custom class, right? Everybody made up their own character. But um, I allowed him to create a subclass because he was unhappy with the way the sorcerer subclasses were, and um, I wanted him to be happy, with his character. But you could easily see how the other players might say, "Well, this is unfair. You let him make up his own character, and then his character turned out to be OP." Right? Not on purpose, but this is why you're not supposed to let people make up their own character classes, because they don't have a sense of balance, right? They can't, because they're players and they're not seeing the big picture, and they don't have access. He didn't have access to the whole monster manual to look at what the resistances of all the monsters are. He didn't have access, potentially have access to the Dungeon Master's Guide, or he shouldn't have, to see all of that. He didn't know what kinds of monsters I was going to create, right? And what their weaknesses were going to be. So it turns out that he kind of played right into the weaknesses of the monsters that I created without me realizing he was going to, without him realizing he was going to. And so um, he ended up being a little bit overpowered. It wasn't anything that sort of showed the whole group up. All the group had their abilities and they contributed, and it wasn't like he did all the kill shots or anything. But he was quite the battlefield controller, what I'm doing here. Yeah, he was doing that a lot, and he kind of seemed to want the spotlight on him, and then he made up an NPC, like two NPCs, his sister, or his mother and his girlfriend, that he wanted to be in the story. He wanted that backstory stuff, and since nobody else created anything like that, the problem becomes that if nobody else has created anything like that, it would be okay if everybody did, but because only he did, then it starts to feel like when all the background stuff is happening about his character, it's like, well, yeah, but you're my best friend. I can't make everything be about you without it seeming like I'm just giving my best friend the spotlight. So I had to really kind of try to rein him in a little bit and be very careful how I was doing that so it would stay fair. And it's very dangerous, and you have to be very careful. And there were a number of times that I'm looking at this going, okay, am I letting him do something that I wouldn't let anybody else do just because he's my best friend? And I mean, to some degree, yeah, unfortunately the answer was a little bit yes, because I sort of trusted him to do a good job with what he was doing, right, and creating the character and stuff, because I knew him. Whereas some of the other players, I would trust them now to do that, but I wouldn't have at the beginning because I didn't know them, right? And so, well, that's potentially unfair. Now, nobody asked to make up their own character class, right? Everybody was okay with the classes as written. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being biased, and it's very hard because you know the person and you can't just unknow them. You know, you can't just take away the fact that you know from the history of gaming with them that they're a trustworthy person who won't purposely try to get overpowered stuff, right? He still ended up getting overpowered stuff, but it wasn't doing it on purpose, right? And I knew that. Um, but yeah, it definitely makes it very difficult because it's really hard to push aside your feelings and your knowledge of the other person to make an objective ruling. And that's just with somebody I was friends with, right? It's not my spouse. It must be much harder when it's your spouse or your brother or sister or something like that, right? Girlfriend, etc. Now, I never had anybody, complain about it or say they thought it was unfair or anything like that. And I think they probably would have if they had thought so. But it always worried me, right? And then I was trying to make sure I don't want to overcompensate, right? And I think I told the story at one point where my best friend wanted um, he wanted to get some sort of a magic item, and I was not going to let him have it. And then I realized that one of the other players had, if you remember right, when we were talking about my D&D game, I had the I know a guy, the Lando rule, where you could, for one character per charisma bonus that you started with at the beginning, you don't get more as your charisma goes up. You know someone, you have a contact, and that person can maybe like call in a favor for you. You can call in a favor, and so the cleric only had one, I think, one I know a guy, and he really wanted to get like I don't know some magic scrolls, like find familiar and a couple of first level scrolls, and he said, "Can I use my I know a guy to know someone?" Turned out to be his uncle is like a magic item, almost like an arms dealer. He's a magic item dealer, and he said, "Can I use that to my I know a guy to bring me a magic item that I wouldn't otherwise get?" And a small like just some magic scrolls, some spells. And I said, okay, if you want to use your I know a guy for that, you can, right? And then my best friend was asking for very specific um, magic items, and I was kind of stiff arming him because I don't like giving out specific magic items. But then I remembered that I had let the guy who wasn't my best friend do the I know a guy, and I said, okay, am I stiff arming him because I don't want to give special treatment to my best friend, right? Like then you overcompensate. And so I said, all right, well, look, the other guy used his contact for a magic item. If you want to burn your contact to do that, you can. And he said, yes, I'll do that. Right? You want the magic item badly enough that you want to burn your contact, right? It'd be like in Savage World saying, okay, if you want to burn a conviction token for this, I'll let you have it, right? Because it's a limited resource. And how many times do we come up with this? We talk. How many times does this come up when we talk about role-playing games and the importance of having limited resources that you can charge the players and even the GM for, so that you're not just doing things willy-nilly, but you're saying, okay, I can only do 3 of these. This is how I'm going to use them, right? And I think that's actually a good way of gauging, right? That's what I did. I said, okay, well, let me tell him if he uses this contact, then, man, this is a big dungeon. If he uses this contact, then I'll let him do it. Does he want to burn the resource on it? If he does, then he must really want it, right? Because you can only do a couple of these. If you want to do that, then go ahead, right? Because you're burning a limited resource, and that, I think, is very useful as a calibration, right? You're not just doing it because it's cool and it would be fun to do, but it unbalances the game. We're saying, okay, in the interest of game balance, you got to spend a Benny on it, or you got to spend a conviction token on it, or in this case, you've got to spend a contact token. And so yeah, I mean, I think that can help regulate and make sure that you're not playing favorites. If you give everybody the same number of tokens, or tokens based on some objective standard like your charisma bonus, and they decide how to use it, then you don't have to worry about whether maybe you're being playing favorites or whatever, because everybody gets to do that with their tokens, you know. But yeah, apparently it got really ugly in this game group, and the ugliness was partly based on the fact that the GM was playing favorites with his own spouse, right? And partly because the spouse was going to make the GM's life miserable if he didn't play favorites with her, right? If he didn't let her have her way. My guess is that's, I guess, the way their actual relationship was, not just in D&D, but probably in general. She was probably one of these people who, if they don't get their way, they become extremely hard to live with. We all know people like this, and so if you know that about the person, then you might be. Do we have a boss in here? I'm gonna hold domination until we get to the boss. Or is this the boss? Cutter Cane is a minion? Oh boy. Okay, hang on. Break free. Okay. Okay, we'll dominate now. If they're gonna do that to me. Okay, and let's turn this guy against his partners. And then we can hold that one. You guys want to be controllers? I can do that better than you can. Come on. And now we hold this one. Yeah, we definitely need break freeze with this character, because those two seers would have face planted me. So, I don't know, was that the real Cutter Cane, or was that an imposter? That was very easy. When you think about, like, the other mission where we were getting multi-ambushed by yellow cons and stuff. How many times am I gonna miss with this character in a row? Oh my gosh. I don't see any bosses. More misses. These are white cons. It shouldn't be hard to hit them. Is there somebody on the other side here? There should be. Oh, there isn't. So, I don't know, because we got Cutter Cane. And still not getting the mission complete. So I don't know if there's, like, if he was an imposter. I don't remember. I don't actually think I've done this mission before, because I've never. I don't think I've done the loyalist side. If I did, it was a long time ago, and I don't remember it. Okay, let's go back up. Yeah, this seems way easier than the other boss mission, right? That we did in the previous episode where, like, I was fighting for my life. These guys are nothing. And the spawns are smaller than they should be, right? It's just one or two. Rather than three. We're getting close to domination again. Yeah, there it is. So if there is a boss, we can dominate him. But I don't know that there is. There's more guys over here. Okay, so these are seers, so we're going to need break free again. Let's dominate them. Great. Let's go attack each other. There you go. Got her. I love domination, guys. I love it when I see that domination come up and I know that they're like just going to be locked in forever. It's awesome. And that's the mission. I guess it was just a defeat all. And we got 9 reward merits, which puts us up to 25. 1,175 to go. And we are almost 11th level. We get introduced to a new contact, Alec Parson. And we don't have this guy. We haven't done anything for this guy yet either. Let's do Alec Parson. Let's follow the storyline. Yeah, oh man, we are 1B from level 11. We should get there in this episode then. How are we doing on enhancements? Oh, we got a bunch. Take a look at them. Let's see, this is accuracy, right? Let's pop this in here. So we hit with that, and then we've got a couple of damage. This is a damage SO. Let's put that in Gloom. And then we have a damage DO. Let's put that in Gloom. Endurance reduction. Let's put that in there. And the rest of this we can't use. Not bad. And we're only a couple levels from buying a nice full set of DOs, right? Let's see, what do we need for inspirations? We definitely need to pull in a couple of break frees. And there we go. And now we can talk to him about missions. And part 1, what's your malfunction? The PPD has picked up some haywire clockworks. Tried to stop it, but they pushed me to the floor. Okay, so we've got to go fix the haywire clockworks in the Micer facility. M-I-C-R. I wonder what that stands for. I have to say, I'm always impressed with how much nicer the textures look here than they do in Paragon. Paragon City looks great, but these textures are clearly, you know, much like higher res, much nicer. And I wonder if the game had gone on a long time, if they would have gone through and reconditioned Paragon City, or if they would have left it the way it was for nostalgia, you know. It's so weird having nothing up here because I don't have any toggles or anything. All I have is... That's weird. Shouldn't the Dominator buff show there? Huh. Right, the thing that shows that you have the access to the domination ability? Okay. So investigate the haywire clockworks. They're going to attack me? Yeah, they will. Okay, so control one. Lock the other one in place. Mobilize them all. Have fun, guys. Take some damage. Yeah, we definitely need AoEs. So we're gonna lean toward those now. Now that we have our single target controls, we need AoE controls and definitely AoE damage. Right, because the whole idea is you lock them in place with an immobilize or an AoE hold, and then you've got to start doing the damage to them. Right? Missed. Picking up some strange energy signatures. Yeah, this is probably whatever's controlling them, no? I missed that one. Back up. Oh, we're being ambushed. That's not good. Controlled the wrong guy. And the problem is they're coming through the door, so I can't, realistically, I can't, can I get out of it? I can, okay. Alright. So now what we're going to do is start immobilizing and holding these guys. And just back up. Because I cannot fight them all. All at once. Yeah, I definitely need more AoEs. But I don't have any good way to, like, hammer down their hit points right now. You know? So I just have to, like, hold, and back up. And then what happens is, by the time I've done that a few times, I have chipped away at their hit points. And then I can finish them off, you know. But it takes a long time to chip away at them, and I can't stop to focus on one guy because the other guys are going to just kill me. You could see what was happening to my hit points, my health. Okay, they're both gone. And we're ready to dominate. And we're also close to leveling up. Right, so I couldn't come further into this room because I knew there was going to be more stuff in here. And I didn't want to aggro the other guys. So we got to watch out. Let's dominate. What I really need to do is start with the nearest one and do the charm first, or whatever you want to call it, the mind control first. Because what I've been doing, which is probably the wrong thing, is I've been laying the hold out first. And then if you do that, then the other guys aggro and shoot you back before you can lay the confuse on them. Right? And so then the confused guy takes a shot at you first before taking a shot at his companions. Right? So if you start with it, then they won't attack you. Because that first hit does the confusion. So we want to start with confuse. Let him start attacking his friends. Right? Then hold. Then group immobilize. Right? Then we can immobilize the guy in the back and then back up. Start picking on the guy that we held. Right? And the guy in the back can't shoot me. And that's the right way to do it, but sometimes when you're, you know, in the heat of being attacked and ambushed and everything else, you don't always do it under proper control. Right? It's sort of like the Kids Baking Championship. I've watched like 11 seasons of it now. It's a great show and I really like it. And all these kids, like, they show the cakes that they make, you know, for sale when they have their little own home businesses and stuff, a lot of them, and they're beautiful, gorgeous cakes. and then they do the cake on the show, and they have 2.5 hours to make this really complicated cake that's maybe not a cake that they would have chosen to make, but is instead something that they were told to do, that they drew out of a hat or whatever, and it's not their bread and butter or whatever you want to call it. It's not their best recipe. Maybe they've never made one of these before or only done it once, and so and they end up making like this cake that the icing is oozing out of it, and they kind of make a mess out of it, and you're like, how did this kid who, they're showing all these pictures of the beautiful cakes and cookies and macarons and everything else that they've made. How is this kid doing such a terrible job in the baking championship? Well, it's because they only had 2.5 hours, and they didn't, like when they're doing it for sale or whatever, and we've leveled up, they've got plenty of time, right? If somebody orders a cake for Friday, they can start on it Thursday night. They can do part of it and put it in the fridge for tomorrow, right? Make the icing ahead of time, etc. You can't do that in a 2-hour, bake-off. And so under the pressure of the time pressure and having to do all this stuff, and you can't do it over again because you don't have time if you make a mistake and all of that, that kind of pressure can often be what causes you to mess up. And although there's no pressure like that in City of Heroes, yes, I should be doing things like immobilize the guy and then back up out of range and attack the guys that are closer and so on, but in the heat of the moment you just don't always do that, right? It just doesn't always. Your fingers don't always do what your brain wants them to do, right? You just don't always. You misclick and everything. And then the other issue is when I'm talking about something else like Dungeons and Dragons and D&D horror stories and stuff, while I'm doing this, it's distracting. But the ideal way to begin a fight, possess doesn't seem to draw aggro. The ideal way is to do the possession, let them start fighting each other, right? And then go after them with your holds. Right, so I have one trapped, one hypnotized, and I'm really just fighting one guy. Let's get rid of Awaken. I definitely want to get the durations up on these holds so that I don't have to keep reinitializing them as much. Because if you can get the durations up pretty long, so that in the time it takes to take out the whole spawn they don't wear off, then what you can do is just focus on your damage. Right? But I can't do that because I have to keep re-upping the holds and the immobilize and even the confuse. Because it takes me too long to do the damage. And that's just because I don't have a lot of damage powers yet. So this character will really be coming into his own, like most characters in the 20s, and won't be playing like a full-on dominating Dominator until we have, into the 20s. We have our SOs and everything. And get all our slots on our powers and all of that. Oh boy. That's a boss. Okay, Domination. Hold. I didn't even get a chance to come in here and see what else was around. But we got him. Now that immobilize is just to add a little bit of damage over time. Because again, we don't have a lot of damagey attacks. And that tells me I need to get more. Right? Because we have 4 of the primary and only 2 of the secondary. We have completed this mission. How much time has gone by? 39? Okay. Let's, I was going to say let's finish up, but I guess we have stopped the malfunctioning of the robots. These are this world's version of Clockworks. And now we're going to go back to Parson. And then we're going to level up, and then I think we will stop for the episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is the second episode I made today. I'm just having so much fun with this Dominator. I really am. plays so differently from my other characters. I don't know what I'm going to do after this Dominator. I'm kind of getting the urge. I would like to probably do a Scrapper, but I'm kind of getting the urge to try a Mastermind again. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that and grab 2 break. Oh no, we have a break freeze already. We need heals. And we don't need these recipes, so we will sell them. I don't keep recipes below level 30 for inventions. Okay, so let's head to, what is it, Night Star or something? Yep. That's a cool name, by the way, Night Star. It's cool, it sounds cool, but then you think about it and you're like, well, wait a minute, when are there stars out except at night, right? I mean, obviously the stars are always there, you just don't see them, but from our perspective, the stars come out at night, so Night Star, it's like saying day sun. Okay, so we have 2 slots. I think I'm going to keep working Gloom. And I'm going to add a slot to Possess because that's a really good power. And in 1 more level, we will be getting DOs on all of these things and putting them, working it out exactly the way I want, right? So for right now, we have these weird things. We're going to rip them out and put DOs in their place. We're going to rip all these things out. Gloom is probably going to be double, like I always do with DOs, double accuracy. What's the endurance use on this thing? 8. Probably double accuracy, single recharge, single endurance, single damage, because we have 5 slots on it. Dark Grass will probably be double accuracy. Let's see, what's it for endurance? Probably double accuracy, single endurance, single hold duration, because it recharges pretty quickly. Shadowy Binds will be double accuracy. Possess will probably be... And might be double accuracy as well. This will be single accuracy. And this will be double. I think it's just going to be a bunch of double accuracies, and then the only powers that are going to have anything other than accuracy will be Gloom and Dark Grass. We're not going to bother with the pool powers with DOs. We'll do those when we get to single origin enhancers. So, hope you guys have enjoyed. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes.